Caleb, a couple weeks ago, Thomas said, like, when he was telling us, like, how it went down when he took over as offensive coordinator, he called you in, he said, you know, that he kind of categorized it as you guys both need to have blind trust in each other going forward. But what does that look like to you, or I guess the last 3 weeks, like, what did that blind trust look like? And obviously the results have been pretty good so far.
Yeah, the blind trust is just understanding that our relationship is not where the other coach was, Shane. It wouldn't be where that is, or Flus, or all these other coaches, even Carey and Ryan. We just didn't get to talk much, and so us, you may call a play and you're like, you've been with the coach for a while and you're like, I don't really like this play. I don't really feel comfortable with this play, or whatever the case may be, and that may the play may change or this and that. But right now it's more or less in that situation. If that was ever the situation, it's like we have to just believe in each other, regardless of the amount of time we've gotten together, the amount of time that he's been able to call plays or scheme things together for us and things like that. And it's been good so far. Our communication on a bunch of different things throughout the weeks, throughout game days, half times, whatever the case may be. Us being truthful to each other, us being him being demanding of me, and us going out there and executing the right way, and it starts with me. So that's where the blind trust comes from.
Caleb, what do you think about what happened last week with Matt getting fired? You have been planning this future with Matt back to February. Then he's fired 12 games into your rookie season.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't get any say or choice over that. I have to, roll with the punches. Like I said, it's interesting. It's tough. Like you said, someone that he's a reason on why I'm here. He drafted me, and so going through that and that process is interesting for me. I wouldn't say it's the first time that I haven't I've had similar situations in college. With Lincoln leaving and going to USC, and I still, stayed behind for just those last games or last game. So similar situation. So I'm able to kind of go off of that a little bit. But obviously, it's a little different when, now it's NFL, and that's a man that has a family, a man that end up getting fired, and there's a human part of it, human part to it, and then. There's a business side to it that you have to understand, and like I said, roll with the punches from there.
Does it weigh on you at all?
It's
that was you were playing for him. I mean, you guys on the field are part of the result as well.
Yeah, like I said, the human aspect of it, weighs on you a little bit, especially this being my first year, this being my first head coach. Drafted me. So like I said, there's a human part of it, and then the business side has to kick in and say, I understand it. I don't really have control of it, but I have to roll the punches, and I have to understand and move on, and try and help this team win the best way that I can. And from there we have to you have to separate human aspect of it and business aspect of it when you're in the building, and trying to be out there in the field and focus and go out there and win games with these guys. And then off the field there's a human aspect of it like damn, this it's he's not going to be in the building and things like that. So it's tough, but got to move on. Got to get going with these guys and San Fran, and focus on coming out with the win.
From along with that, you've talked consistently about keep going.
Yep.
How do you keep going with the faith that you're in good hands here with all the commotion you've been asked to deal with for 12 weeks here?
Yeah. The first part is understand that I can't control. I just have to, even if I understand or don't understand, that doesn't matter. I got to roll the punches, like I said before, and I don't control everything. Everybody has a job here, and that's the cool thing about football. Offensive linemen, QBs, DBs, kickers, punters, coaches, GMs, everybody has a job in us winning, and so everybody has to do their part. There's going to be good things, bad things that come from that. If you do your job, don't do your job, whatever the case may be, to the level that we may need or that we need. And whether it's not being on the team, bench or starting or promotion or whatever the case may be. You got to do your job and you got to roll with the punches.
What's been the biggest difference this week, starting with Monday with Thomas in charge as the head coach?
Yeah, Thomas is he's the same guy from multiple times that I've talked before now. Same guy, has a certain demeanor about him, and whether it's showing up on time and getting on the guys, whether they're older guys, younger guys, obviously, and making sure that, like you said, accountability is really important in football teams and businesses and family and all these different things. And so one of the most important things is accountability, and I think he's done a solid job so far with that, and holding me accountable, holding all the guys accountable. So I'd say that's one of them, and then just how he is. He's a lead by example type of guy, and that's been great.
Yeah, but Thomas talked about
Good.
Thomas talked about in his Monday meeting about trying to unify this team. Where is this team right now after the loss on Thursday, the dismissal of Eberflus, now coming back together this week?
Yeah, like I said before, I think the human aspect of it is like you have these emotions, and when you come into the building, you have to put those emotions aside. We got a job to do. And the team-wise, I mean, I guess you can look at all these games that we're on a 6-game losing streak now, and you look at all these games, and past 3 weeks we've played Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota, and we've been right there with them. Offense, defense, whatever, special teams, whatever. We've been right there with them, and those have been the best teams in the league so far. So I think, and we fight. I think a team with this record, the things that have gone down, if there was, a division necessarily, like a heavy split between the team, I think we wouldn't be fighting the way that we do at the end of games, during games, whatever the case may be. Obviously there's things that we need to fix, things that we're going to fix to get rolling. And it starts with, with everything that TB said, accountability and unifying and, all these different things. And so, I think that's kind of where I feel the team is at. I do understand that our record, doesn't say how we fight, doesn't say, all of these different things. But when you go watch those games and you watch this team, we fight all the way to the end. And that, us being together, us fighting and all of that, it's just going to keep growing, and, can't wait.
Jalen and some other guys have talked about the post-game issues in Detroit. Jalen's talked about confronting Matt Eberflus during his pregame or his post-game speech. Had you ever been part of anything like that before, and what was the experience like for you to watch that unfold at Ford Field?
Yeah, I think, have I been a part of that? Or anything like that. There's been time. I mean, guys walk in and they're frustrated. I've walked in games in my career before. Excuse me. Where I've walked into games in my career before, where I've walked in and I've said things and out of frustration, feeling like we should have won that game or feeling like we should have did this and that. So at that point, yes, I will say that this game's an emotional game. It's a tough game. It's tough to win games. You go each week, preparing, working your tail off, summer, spring, all these different things, and it's tough when you don't win. And I think, I think we need to do a better job of that, of not doing that, and things not getting out and things like that. It's an in-house thing, but I think I've been a part of it. I've done it, in those moments because it is an emotional game, but. What was the second part to that question also?
What the experience was like for you to see that play
out?
Yeah,
you understand it to a certain extent. You understand that he's frustrated. He's been here a while. The playoffs and records and things like that haven't been where he's wanted to be. And that's all coming. We got to understand that. And see the light at the end of the tunnel. But. Right now, it's kind of dark. 6 games so far, and we haven't won, but we're really close, and I'm really excited about that.
When you go back to the final sequence in Detroit, as you revisited it yourself and you revisited it with coaches, what do you see as a learning experience of things you could have done better on that final stretch there?
Yeah, I think at the end, I didn't have enough tempo at the end of the game. Definitely, in that moment, didn't have enough tempo. Getting the guys lined up, them seeing, my urgency. I was moving I was moving well, but not as urgent as I should have, understanding the situation. At the end of the game, I also could have understand the situation a little bit better right then and there of the play call. I thought when we called that last play, it was a no huddle play that we wanted to get lined up, and I saw the clock winding down, and wanted to try to take a shot at the end zone because I was expecting it to be our last play right in that moment, and we were actually trying to get back in field goal range, and just not on the same page in that situation, and definitely can learn from it. Definitely will learn from it. Realizing that when we march back down, we want to get that after the sack. We're trying to get back in field goal range to call a timeout, and so just being on the same page of just what the situation was, being on the same page of what we're actually going to do, whether it's using the timeout after that last play after getting the first down, or getting that yardage back, or timeouting it, or right after the sack, or whatever the case may be. Just in total, just being on the same page with the coach.
Before that, you had DJ on a crosser. What happened on that one where he kind of short hopped him?
Yeah, frustrated about that one, but short arm that one. I ended up feeling I think it was, I don't remember the number, but when I was starting to throw, I ended up feeling the D tackle looping back in that little gap that I stepped up into, and that just it ended up just affecting the throw in the end of it, yeah.
Caleb, you keep talking about rolling with the punches. Is that easier said than done? Because obviously you come in, you learn from Shane, abruptly get switched to Thomas Brown. You're working with him closely for a couple weeks. Now he's promoted to head coach, and I know he's still going to be calling plays, but you have another different offensive coordinator. Are you worried at all this maybe affecting your development, and how do you kind of power through?
No, it is the hardest thing to do, is keep going and keep going as being consistent. As a human nature, we're not necessarily meant to be consistent for 365 days. So that is the battle to fight for myself, for my teammates and coaches and everybody. So I will say that it's not easy to keep going and roll with the punches and keep fighting and things like that. But you have to do it. It's part of it. And the last part of the question was.
Just worried about it affecting your development, just, all this change as you're trying to go through.
No, I wouldn't say that it will affect my development. I think this is a stepping stone of development. To be able to have all of this in my first year, I wouldn't say that I'm happy for it, but having these moments is definitely something that will help me in the future. Having these situational moments that you can't. It's hard to rep in practice. Having some of these moments, having your coach fired or coaches fired, and people being promoted, and things like that, all happening within a couple weeks of each other. I think it would have helped me in the long run, being able to handle all of this, handle this first year, and being able to grow from it. I think it is a stepping stone. Actually with my development, because I think down the line I'll have, different OCs or different head coaches, whatever the case may be. And so being able to handle it my first year, handle new playbook, handle all these different changes, handle, all of this, I think it definitely will help the development instead of, hurting it or anything like that. So, yeah.
Caleb, you guys have always talked about being a player-led team, but Thomas's message seems to really resonate with you guys. Was a new voice just needed in the room, you think?
I wouldn't say a new voice was needed. I would say there was change that was needed. And that goes from what Thomas is talking about, accountability, unifying each other, us being on each other, whether it's coaches, players, us communicating, us doing all these different things. I wouldn't say that a new voice. I wouldn't say that a change from head coaches or anything like that. That's not a decision that I get to choose, a decision that I get to make. I wouldn't say that that's the situation that that I get to choose, the players, all of us. I'd say that us players, we got to deal with it. We have to handle it. And then from there, we got to go out and win games. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Thanks,
The Bears.